device disrupts people about one time every 6 miles. And it's not just about people being bad, right? It's just the device wants attention. And as we're sitting here, I bet you our phones are dinging and chirping and beeping. So it's not me being bad as an employee. The device wants my attention.
Hello, everyone. Welcome out to another episode of the PMP Industry Insider Podcast. We take a look at what is changing in the pest and lawn industries, and we take you to the front lines, to those that are driving those changes. I'm Donnie Shelton, owner of Triangle Home Services, which has Triangle Pest as well as Triangle Lawn. And with me is AI's favorite pest and lawn numbers guy, Mr. Dan Gordon. Dan, would you like to say good morning, introduce our sponsors, talk about peer groups, introduce our topic and our guest? That's 4 things. Got it?
4 things. Got
Four
it.
things.
All right, let's go. Dan
All right,
Gordon,
just do it.
bookkeepers, M&A specialists. We do CFO work and exit planning for the pest and lawn industry. Today, we're going to be talking to David Coleman, head of commercial solutions at Truce Software, and Kannon, Cravey, who's a technical manager from Romex, who are users of the software. We'll talk about the topic, which is from reactive to proactive, rethinking driver safety and pest control. And if you like what you hear, support our sponsors. First sponsor, Coleman, marketing that works exclusively for the pest and lawn industry. Drive measurable, smarter growth for your business. Their reporting even ties into PestPack and Real Green, which is terrific. So you can see exactly how your marketing is doing. Head over to colemarch.com/podcast, fill out a form and get your first free month with them. And one of our longtime sponsors, PestSure, for over 40 years, they've been protecting pest control companies with specialized insurance safety programs because nobody understands our industry better. Learn more at pestsure.com. And our third sponsor, which we really enjoy working with, is Voice for Pest. They deliver only phone solutions designed specifically for pest and lawn care professionals, from powerful AI features to deep integrations with almost all the industry CRMs. See why leading companies rely on them every day. And you can learn more about their products or services at voiceforpest.com/podcast. And in case anybody who uses, I'm not supposed to use the word chemicals, materials.
Products.
Forshaw is the leading family-owned and operated distributor serving pest management professionals since 1961. They focus on people, partners, and performance. And they got a really cool app that allows you to track inventory and bring.
We use it here at Triangle. We love it.
We have tons of clients who use it. It's pretty cool. Yep. And so that is, if you want to learn more, go to forshaw.com. Peer groups, if you're interested in an industry-specific peer group, when we run several of them, our facilitator is our good friend and industry veteran, David Billingsley. Join us. Visit pmpindustryinsider.com/peer groups, or go back to episode 238, however you consume this podcast. You can see it with Caleb Cunningham of Justice Pest Services. He gives you an overview of what it's like to be a peer group member. And if I didn't bore you, let's get started.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that one, but I do want to get started. So let's move. Here we go.
All right. So David Coleman is head of commercial solutions for Truce Software, which is an employee-first AI-powered platform that turns mobile devices into real-time protection, coaching, performance tools. Kannon is technical manager for Romex, which operates across Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Mississippi, with about 200 team members. And I guess, Kannon, you are a big user of the software. So let's get started with the basics. Why don't you guys jump in and tell us what the software does? We have been briefed, but I'd love to hear it from you guys.
Yeah, I can do a high-level overview of Truce and the software, and then I'll turn it to Kannon. We're a next-generation telematics and AI dashcam company. We took a very, very different approach, kind of going back 15 years, and started by looking at the mobile devices folks were already carrying. And at a fundamental level, we provide the ability to automatically policy enforce those devices. So here it is, April, Distracted Driving Awareness Month. And part of what we do at our core is make sure that folks are not disrupted by the mobile device while driving. So if a company has a policy that says you're allowed hands-free calls and navigation, but nothing else, then when vehicles are moving, we automatically enforce that policy. And then we built the rest of the telematics and AI dash cam solution on top of that kind of fundamental premise. Remove the device from contributing to frequency, severity, cost to crashes, and then leverage the technology to do traditional track and trace, and then an elegant way to bring in AI dash cam data. And then the last thing I'll say is when we looked at kind of the legacy telematics industry that's 30 years old, it was always about the vehicle and what you could do to a person. So catch the person, track the vehicle. We flipped it over and said, well, what can we do for the employees first? How can we make them the first line of defense? How can we make telematics really about an individual and empower them to be to bring their highest performance and safest skills when they're behind the wheel? And then obviously management has a role, but if we can make the person the first line of defense, then that unburdens supervisors from kind of the management burden that is kind of embedded in traditional telematics. So I'll pause there.
So just to be clear, I'm assuming you guys have an app that you install on a service professional's phone, and you can control specifically what will work when the car is moving or the vehicle is moving, or I guess the phone in this case is moving, and when it's not. Is that? I just want to make sure I'm clear on like what it does.
Yeah, we have a
That good?
combination of hardware. Yeah, there's an AI dash cam that's in the vehicle. We have other hardware options, but our flagship product is an AI dash cam. That AI dash cam communicates directly with our software. So devices in a vehicle, vehicles moving, whatever the company defined policy is, that's all the device can be used for. And we're a strategic partner with Pest. They have a no phone zone policy. We're actually an engineering control to support Pest customers that want to make sure they're complying with Pest's mobile device policies. So that's fundamental level. Software on a device, devices in a vehicle, vehicles moving, devices policy enforced. And then everything else, scoring, leaderboards, coaching, all builds on top of that fundamental concept of software in the vehicle.
Got it.
On the phone.
So Kannon, you're on here. Let's hear, like, obviously you're the user. And I don't know if you guys caught this when Dan was saying it, but he's from Romex. Want to hear, like, what was your journey to, first of all, using the software, what drove you guys' decision to start using it, to get involved, and kind of how are you using it today?
Well, I mean, the first decision we made is we wanted dash cams in our vehicles, right? That's kind of what we were looking for. Kind of keep track of the drivers. We reached out to a couple ones. We talked to Truce, and they kind of introduced us to their product of dash cams, but they kind of showed us the other side of their actual product, which is the distracted driving product, where, like Dan was talking about, they can, we enforce a policy. So if we don't want drivers, scrolling on TikTok or Instagram or texting and driving, right, then those can be disabled just while driving. Of course, when the vehicle's stopped, then they can use their phone how they want. But that, on top of everything that all the other companies are doing with the dash cams and the GPS, it just sold it for us.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what they've said they're going to do. They've provided, and it's been great. It's really turned into a teaching moment, and not really like I would say, like, consequences, or like, trying to get mad at the technician or our drivers, where instead they're learning from their actions, and they're really changing their behavior to not even look at their phones while they're driving.
Right.
You,
Real quick though, before we jump in that, you mentioned something about an AI camera. Can you expand on that a little bit? Like, I'm just trying to follow. So a camera's a camera, right? And then obviously there's data. Can you walk me through, like, okay, what's the AI piece of this as far as the camera?
So from a technical standpoint, the AI piece is leveraging the mobile device and the AI power that iPhones and Androids have. The camera, forward facing and or inward facing. So we're detecting following distance and then alerting in real time. If AI is determining that your following distance is too close, we're detecting stop signs in real time So if folks are rolling through stops, they're going to get alerted. And then, of course, that data is also available for scoring and coaching. Posted road speed signs, another great value to the drivers, as road speeds are changing, letting them know based on company policy in real time that, hey, you're 5 miles per hour over, or you're 7 miles per hour over, letting them know. So then in real time, the AI is smart enough to coach in real time the following distance, stop sign, posted road speed, seatbelt. Smoking, unfortunately, it can be an issue for folks in vehicles, fatigue. So yeah, the camera's a very smart lens, but the mobile device is a very smart AI processing
And
capability.
is
So
it
again,
talking to the driver? Like, how is it communicating back to the driver? Like, hey, you just ran a stop sign or whatever.
Correct. Yeah, exactly that. If
That's
they don't stop
impressive.
at a stop sign, yeah,
Yeah.
it says stop sign, or if you're speeding, it'll say, speed limit's 55, and you're
Does it
going
get frustrated
65.
with you? Like, dude, this is the third time I've told. No, I was kidding.
No,
Yeah.
but how does
Well, you know what?
what if you don't
Yes and no, right?
what if you
It
don't
does get annoying, and
is
and
it-
that's probably why you stop doing it, right? You don't want to hear from the camera anymore.
It's like,
so
my gosh, man. Yeah.
so
well,
kind of interesting. You said that you have the big brother piece of it, but then you have the all the metrics and the training and everything else that comes out of it. Can you explain a little bit about how all that works so it's not seen as big brother and you know
yeah, I mean, we're basically taking the mobile device and turning it into a coach. So, my iPhone, my Android, when I'm driving, it's my coach. It's my score. It always follows me, regardless of what vehicle, any alerts that I'm receiving from the dash cam. At the core, I'm protected against the device, right? The device disrupts people about one time every 6 miles. And it's not just about people being bad, right? It's just the device wants attention. And as we're sitting here, I bet you our phones are dinging and chirping and beeping. So it's not me being bad as an employee. The device wants my attention. So at the core, you're protecting them against that. So then everything else is available for them to focus on. So speed, acceleration, braking, seatbelt, these are elements that are brought into to my personal score. And then as I want to compete to be the best, I can move up the leaderboard. And then, of course, you have a backdrop of coaching as well. So say on a weekly or biweekly basis, giving people thumbs up for the things they do well, but hey, need them to focus on things they're not doing so well. So now I have a mobile device and it's my personal coach. I have everything I need to do as an employee. I'm empowered to make changes and compete to be the best, right? So, these are adults that work for us. They're working hard for your companies, but working hard sometimes doesn't mean driving correctly, right? So you work hard, you drive hard, you work hard, you drive hard. We're getting into the brain space of the employees and saying, look, higher performance and safer driving, you can do that as well. So make different decisions about acceleration, braking, and following distance. Don't compete for road space. Be better. And these aren't folks that are professional drivers, right? They're professional technicians. They're professional. They're our best employees. But our best employees can sometimes be the ones that are most responsive to the mobile device, et cetera. So yeah, it's a really neat way to change the relationship that the employees have with driving and make them that first line of defense before, as administrators, you have to weigh in with coaching and punitive and catching people. I mean, let them be your first line of defense.
Yeah.
And
And,
I think
one of the,
Kannon, you've been pretty effective with this.
it's going to bring me to my next question, which is, you know, with, we have cameras and we use GPS, and man, I've just found all the data kind of overwhelming. Like, there's all this data and it's just like, my gosh, right? I don't have time to go through and process it all. I certainly don't have time to figure out what it all means. Can you guys just talk us through, like, I love the idea that it's give real time feedback, because that's the most important part, right? If we're talking about something that happened a day ago or, 2 days ago, it's almost like at that point, it's like, yeah, whatever, right? So I love that part of it. Can you guys talk us through the data side of this, and like, what is that? How do you leverage it? Kannon, this is probably more for you. Like, obviously there's
Yeah.
behavior that you're focused on, do you guys actually use the reporting and how do you process the data, or is this more just like, hey, we're focused on behavior and we're letting the phone do its thing, and then we've got the data, but we don't really look at it that much?
No, I'm definitely in the data, every week, every day. I run reports from what Truce gives me, and I give a breakdown of each office, which office is doing the best. I give a breakdown of the top 10 drivers, the bottom 10 drivers, as far as like, because they have like a driving score that kind of combines all the categories, phone usage, speeding, braking. And so this is all going to the managers, for them to kind of figure out how they want to address, individuals. But at the same time, the individuals have all the data on their phone every day. So I can look at my phone and I can see my last session, and I could pull up everything, all the violations maybe I had. Maybe I was speeding for, 10 minutes on this highway, or I braked too hard at this. And I can see my score of that session, and as well as I can even see the clips. So I pull up a clip, I say, oh, I missed the stop sign. I can see myself running the stop sign. So it's kind of like real time data that these guys are able to see and correct on their own. But at the same time, this is all getting put into the software where I kind of dive in. It's all organized very neatly. I can see who's the worst at braking, speeding, or vice versa. Who's the best at speeding? Who's the best at braking? Who doesn't use their phone? Who does use their phone? It's all very neatly organized. And for me to kind of dive into that and reach out individually to managers and technicians to kind of address those as they come up.
Got it.
So is there anything that we hear that most of our clients and friends have some sort of GPS tracker and whatnot. What is it that they are missing? What is it that they can do to make their program better? To and the whole I hear over and over again, less and less, but this whole Big Brother concept, like how do we make it as a gamify it or whatever you're doing? What how's that all work?
Yeah, a couple things to unpack there, right? I mean, legacy telematics has always been about tracking the vehicle. It's always been about scoring the vehicle. It's been very much Big Brother, where big data is going back and then exception reporting, and then reports get bursted to the field, and then you got to tell one of your best employees they made a mistake 3 days ago. By turning this completely around and giving the employee that first line of defense and giving them everything they need. A coaching event that occurs never comes as a surprise, right? I've seen my score. I know I'm not complying with the company's goals for things like speed, acceleration, braking. So I think you change the relationship a bit between the employee and, frankly, the vehicle and management by letting them play the game to be the best. The other challenge I think companies have and have historically had is they collect a lot of data, especially with video, right? A huge amount of chain of evidence that frankly you're storing and can be used against you if you're not acting on it. So part of what we're also doing is making sure we're automatically coaching based on thresholds, and that means weekly, bi-weekly. As an employee, you're getting personal coaching plans, both positive reinforcement as well as kind of corrective. That way, you're never in a situation where you're just collecting data and you're hoping that the field is acting on the data. And that's actually been a challenge for the industry for a while now. Big data collection, big discovery, but really challenging to ask supervisors that are driving productivity, working hard for making sure people are working hard, and then, oh yeah, by the way, I have to deal with the safety exception report. We want to flip that over. Let's move it all first and foremost to the employee, and then make sure the supervisors have tools that they need to participate as well. So during coaching events, aligning the employees with the supervisors. Companies that have GPS tracking, I get it. They can't necessarily pivot out immediately. There's value in tracking vehicles.
Right.
There's value in knowing the diagnostic trouble codes and odometer and things like that about the vehicle. This is a little bit different because it's person first, but we can certainly complement folks that have existing GPS, track and trace of the asset. We can still complement those solutions with kind of an employee first, supervisor first approach.
Got it.
Absolutely. I think.
So
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
yeah,
Kannon.
I was just going to add on to that. I think something a lot of companies are missing is just the distracted driving um, problem, right? I think a lot of issues, and we've seen it ourselves. A lot of issues are resolving themselves as we, help our drivers be less distracted while driving, right? You know, maybe they're hard braking because they're looking at their phone every once in a while and they have to look up and, then they have to hit their brakes, or they were speeding because they weren't paying attention to the speed limit changes, stuff like that. So really just eliminating the distractions is really kind of like helped all our other metrics at the same
Listen,
time.
David, you got to have a family plan. I've got literally a 22-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 20-year-old, and my insurance is ridiculous. Absolutely. It's just like because my 16-year-old is a male. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so it's just like, oh my gosh, I would just love to. Anyway, you guys, I mean, I agree with you, Kenan. Like, there's the whole like, there's the vehicle, right? But then there's also behavior. And at the end of the day, when you look at the highest risk, okay, if they miss an oil change or a little bit over, great. But if they, I mean, I remember, I hate to admit this, but we watched a video of a guy. This was years ago in a lawn truck blow right through a red light at 60 miles an hour. And fortunately, it did not. It was not. But I cringe every time I watch that video. I'm like, oh my gosh, man, we could have killed some. You know what I mean? Like just the things that, and the guy obviously was on his phone, but um, so that to me is the massive risk. So I just echo what you're saying there, Cannon. I mean,
Well, that's the challenge that I think the legacy industry and legacy camera industry has. They're single-handedly collecting liability for companies. So, if you have a policy that says the employee can't be on the phone, but you have a system that's collecting it over and over and over, because let's face it, this is an addiction that folks have to these devices. You can't fire all your employees. And if your most responsive employees are the ones that are constantly getting caught, I mean, it's a terrible situation. So being able to engineer it out automatically, then it means, okay, this is like driving in the 80s again. Okay, now we can
right.
focus on hands and mirrors and seats. But we've removed this unbelievable technology that is in everybody's hand. And for those of us that are old enough, like I remember what it was like to drive in the 80s. I didn't have to worry about the phone. I was trying to find things on the radio. Maybe there are other things that are going on, eating. There's other
but you had
things
the
that
hacks
cause
from Maps.
distraction.
You had a
Hey,
phone and all that.
so Dan, how
Right.
was it driving the Model T? I'm just curious. Like,
Yeah, when the wheel was square, we used to, but
crank it up. You know what I'm saying?
Dan's,
Yeah,
Dan's Dan's horse was like very, very intelligent. So
yeah,
that's
no,
right.
we used to feed them correctly. So I guess
Yeah.
managers, the problem is that the people who need to be on the phone are your managers, your higher up people, right? So they're probably going to be the bigger,
Offenders.
offenders, right? But do you have within your software or spreadsheets, Canon, to figure out the ROI on this thing? Because most people want to go, okay, I'm going to spend this much money on my driver management program. What's it going to get me back? Do you have anything like that, or is it just, last year we had 5 accidents, this year we had 4, so.
Well, that's a
Cannon,
great
talk about the
question.
before you answer, Cannon, talk about the price difference of what we're doing, because I think that was part of your decision criteria, right?
Yeah, so that was definitely a big decision. So when we were looking for dash cams, and the company we were using before for the telematics and GPS had an option. But it was, I think, $35 extra a month per vehicle or per camera to add on those dash cams. Whereas coming over with Truce, they had everything that they included: the cameras, the beacon, the distracted driving, the telematics. Everything was for the exact same price that we were already paying our previous company. So already, yeah, the return on investment, was huge. Yeah, I don't have those exact numbers for you, but I do know, like you were saying, we've had no distracted driving incidents this entire year. We started this back in December, and for the entire year, we haven't had any distracted driving events. We've had people hit us, and we've been able to use the camera to prove that it wasn't our fault, which has been great on top of that. So, yeah, right there, that's already a huge return on investment. So,
Got it. Yeah. Yeah.
I think people, folks that are looking at their data today that maybe they just have telematics. If they're looking at braking data and the folks that are constantly braking, more often than not, there's going to be a phone involved. So if you have telematics data today and you're looking to change behavior, you can try to tell people to stop braking. You can tell people to do a better job of following distance. You can tell them that all day long until you remove the phone. Once you remove the phone, you'll suddenly see braking habits and following distance, things like that improve.
So,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Kannon, this is a question for you. So, your managers, they have enough on their plate. They're doing stuff all day, and your technicians are running 10, 12, 15 stops a day. Is there time to coach each technician or salesperson or person on the road, or how do you do a round robin? How does that work?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. So, yes, we have service managers, so they have their own teams that they coach and manage. We have weekly meetings that they go over their scores and do training weekly. But as far as like day-to-day coaching and training, Truce has taken that over, and it's been amazing. They get messages saying, "Hey, your speeding this week was really good. Hey, you need to work on your braking." They also have the app. They can look at their score in real time, what their braking score is, what their speeding score is, and what their overall score is. And so it kind of, like Dave was saying, it flips it to the employee to kind of coach and train themselves so that when the weekly trainings come or the weekly meetings come, the managers aren't having to come down on them. The improvement's already been there. They're already seeing improvement.
So do you
Um,
gamify that with like and then offer little spiffs or whatever for the best guy this week or this month?
yeah, so we do offer incentives for all our drivers who hit a specific score. So they get paid out weekly if their Truce driving score is a specific score. It's 98 of 100. If their weekly score is that, then they get paid, a weekly bonus. And so they're able to keep track of that in real time. The biggest issue we had with our last provider was that these scores were put out weekly or even, a week late. So they'd come to their meeting to find out if they made that score or not, right? And then they wouldn't and be upset about it. Whereas Truce, you can see what your score is trending towards and you can fix it before that deadline hits. And then they can actually get paid out on their incentive. And we've seen major improvements in driving scores all across the board because of that.
Cool. Okay, good. Now we're getting close to the end here, and so I wanted to make sure that we talk a little bit about, David, you mentioned that you guys are a partner with Pest. I'm curious to hear, like, from a more of a macro level. Obviously, Romex sounds like they've had a very successful implementation. Are other companies following suit, and are they seeing the payback? I guess really it is about behavior, and I loved your point about the phone was constantly competing for your attention because I mean, listen, there ain't no doubt about that. It's
Yeah.
always, but I'm just curious to hear, are there other, like maybe some success stories from some folks that's really seen this change and really for the better?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely visit our website, truesoftware.com road. You'll see, I think we have about 25 pest control companies that have come on board over the last year or so. Um, Kannon brought up the fact our price point. So one of the things that we did with the platform is we wanted to make sure that pest control, lawn care companies were able to get into the AI dash cam telematics space with distracted driving prevention at a price point that's a fraction of kind of competing approaches, right? So number one is get a best in class kind of modern platform for a fraction of existing cost. Uh, you get the phone out, you're going to see a reduction in frequency, severity, cost of crashes. It is a huge contributor to the problem. We all know it. So yeah, in terms of return on investment, if we just get the phone policy protected and protect the employee against it, you're going to see a reduction in frequency, severity, and cost. So folks that are PestSure customers that are also our customers, I think the team at PestSure, Linda, they can talk about how they're seeing that across the portfolio with reduction in incidents. And then, it's like driving in the 80s again. So then we can focus on the other things that are, frankly, habits and choices. So this is not about driver training, right? I mean, most folks know how to drive. It's making them make different decisions every trip that are better fuel economy, better wear and tear on the vehicle, and obviously safer. So, return on investment is obviously going to come in a couple different directions. Crashes avoided, but then also wear and tear on the vehicle.
Got it. Got it. Dan, any parting questions, parting thoughts before we finish out here?
So all the information is on your website on how to inquire about your service. And PestSure is one of your partners, and it's one of our sponsors, and it's also a terrific company. So it sounds like the credibility is there. Obviously, Romex is a pretty substantial company, so they're using it. But everything's on the website. And should they contact you, David, or just fill out a contact form?
Certainly can. And also, by the way, our family, you asked about family. Yes. The other half of our company is family. So you'll be able to see what we make available to parents with children as well. So both of those, not to say
I gotta check that out because
in the Shelton house.
Listen, my kids are gonna hate you guys, but anyway, but I love them because I want to keep them alive. But no, listen, this is really cool. I mean, this solves a big problem. And listen, I mean, I have certainly struggled with this, trying to figure out like, okay, well, how do we solve this? Because you're right. I mean, it is such a difficult thing to get your hands around because it's, again, everyone, I don't want to say everyone does it. Most people that I know do it. So that's, it's such a, I think it's a fantastic product.
Tough habit to break. Yeah, it's a tough habit to break.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to add too, as far as like using the phone, it absolutely allows you to do anything needed to do on your phone as long as it's wireless, right? CarPlay works just perfectly fine. You can use your maps, you can listen to Spotify, you can listen to this podcast, right? You can take phone calls, all that sort of thing still works, and it just pushes it to being wireless and on CarPlay. So it absolutely does not shut your phone down while driving. And I think that was the biggest fear for a lot of our guys. It's like, oh, well, I have a lot of stuff I have to do. It's like, that's totally fine. Let's make it wireless. Let's put it on CarPlay. Let's put it on the screen in the truck. And it's been a game changer. And most technicians don't even notice they have it on their phones anymore, right? Because everything they need is just wireless.
Right. Yep. Nope. I couldn't agree more. Awesome. Well, listen, just a reminder, all the resources and topics that we talked about today are going to be available on the podcast website. Just go over to pmpindustryinsider.com, take a look under show notes. We'll be happy to link up Truce's software website so you can learn more. And as always, we appreciate if there's any positive ratings and reviews, you go ahead and do that, however it is you consume the content. And if you have complaints, comments, concerns, or something just generally negative in nature, we ask that you pass that to Dan because he really appreciates that. And with all that, we're all going to sign off. We'll see you all next time. Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.